Welcome to Colombia! Today I'm going to talk about where not to travel in Colombia, where not to go. This is also very important because not all the country is safe. Hello and welcome to Where Not to Go to in Colombia. My name's Frank, I live in Bogota for over 4 years and I run a travel agency. Today we are hosted with R10 R10. These are student houses and there's also a hostel. We're in Casa del Sol. Here actually I spent my first year in Colombia while studying at the university, and it's a very nice building. With about 30 rooms, many students, a big mess, much noise, very dirty kitchen sometimes, but this is part of the student life, I guess. So, what I got for you, here I got the travel warning map from the UK government, and because it's in black and white, I painted it beautifully, especially for you, but no, we will display it in the original, and I will explain you a little bit about the map and why not to travel there. So we're having a macro view, and after we go to the micro view of cities. So when you take on Colombia, we will have the map on the left or on the right, I guess. You will see all the areas which are bordering Venezuela are red. This is because Venezuela is in a very bad situation. There are many refugees coming into Colombia, and also the guerrillas, which are still active, armed groups, and also narcos. They're ubicated at the border to Venezuela. Sometimes they're in Venezuela, sometimes they're in Colombia. So this is why the border is in general unsafe place. So different reasons, because of the insecurity of the Venezuelan government, armed groups, and drug trafficking, and high crime rates, because people from Venezuela, they have nothing to eat and they just have to get something somehow. Then you have to understand, when you look at Colombia and you have the Department of Meta, which is here, all this down here, this is actually Amazon. There's nothing, no roads, not much population. This is forest. It's a perfect spot for hiding. And you want me to introduce you? So as you can see, this is one of the managers of RDS. The other one we saw in the interview, and he's the partner. So let's go on with So yeah, as I said, all down here, that's Amazon. So it's a perfect hiding place to grow actually coca plants and to hide. And not everything is unsafe, but in the department of Guaviare, there are some security issues. There is lots of deforestation and some issues. But you know, all those red marked places in Colombia are actually no tourist destinations. This is very important to know, and the country is very big. So then we have also Putumayo. This is to the border to Ecuador, and Peru. This is also recognized as an unsafe department, also because of drug trafficking, of coca plant growing, and it's a perfect hiding place because also the area is very difficult for access. Most of the area is just forest. And that is why the narcos are hiding there, or armed groups. And then, interestingly, we have all the way up here on the Pacific coast, the whole area is red. We have some exceptions, like Bahia Salano and Nuki in the department of Chocó, but the whole rest is marked as insecure and dangerous. And I know that myself. Once some of my staff, they went to Bahia Salano, and They went with the boat a little further away, and then they had some greetings with the boat full of armed guys. So the whole area of the Choco is its nature. There are some indigenous villages, but almost the whole area is pure nature and forest, and perfect hiding place. And you know, as a state, it's very difficult to control such big areas. So it makes no sense for the Colombian state to send all the armed forces in there, because it's too big. And what are you gonna do in a dense forest? So this area is general unsafe. It goes up here until the coast of Panama, Capogana, which also became a tourist destination. It's also marked as unsafe. I don't know in detail how the border to Panama is, but I just cannot tell. But it's marked here on the UK map as insecure. And then interestingly, you have here a right spot going into Antioquia, and those are not the FARC rebels. In Antioquia, you have the paramilitares. So when you remember the FARC and the ELN, those are the left wing, and then we have the paramilitares, which are the right wing. And in Antioquia, it's the paramilitares, armed groups on the right wing, but they're also criminals, and it's also therefore a dangerous place. So the latest reports actually from foreigners being involved in hijacking are here, Norte de Santander. We have some here in the south, to the border to Ecuador, and we had a little group in the Amazon. But we're talking about 3 incidents involved 8 people in the last 3 years. So you see the extent of that. In the 20 years ago, Colombia was a totally different story. Today, of course, there are still zones where you shouldn't go, and things happen, but you cannot compare it to 20 years ago. Today, most of the areas, especially all the tourist destinations in Colombia, are totally safe traveling to. Just, of course, the crime rate you have, and we talk about that, and you have to be careful always. So, talking about crime rate and not talking about armed groups. In Bogota, for example, there are also neighborhoods where you shouldn't go. For example, if you're in La Candelaria, the historic part of Bogota, you shouldn't go south, because everything south from Bogota are more poor areas, and it's a bit more dangerous. Also, if you go uphill, there you have the neighborhood Egypt, and this is also known as a very unsafe place. Within La Candelaria, no problem, no issues. Also, you go a little around the center, no problem. You go all the way up north, no issues at all. You go towards the airport, west, no issues at all. But don't go south and don't go up the hill, because they have like comunas, it's like favelas in Brazil. Those are the poor neighborhoods. You also can see it that the construction of the buildings, it's sometimes there are no real buildings, but just something made. And you should avoid those places to get not involved into robberies or whatever. We have the same in Medellin, and we have the same in Cali, and we have the same in Cartagena. Especially Cartagena, you have to be careful. Don't be too impressed by the shiny historic town, because if you're around the airport or somewhere, it's quite different, because Cartagena, after my opinion, has the biggest difference from rich to poor. And people are very poor, they have nothing, so they look where to get something for having the next lunch. So Cartagena, Cali, Medellin, Bogota, the big cities in Colombia, you have to be careful. Don't walk just into neighborhoods which you don't know. And also at night, be careful where you go, inform yourself before just taking a hike around the city. And yeah, that's actually it. Those are the no-go zones for foreigners, especially if you look like me and people identify you from 1 kilometer distance that you're not Colombian. Then you have to be a bit more careful than if you look like a Colombian. So that's it, where not to go in Colombia. If you like the channel, I'm more than happy to see you again. Subscribe it. Feel free to write something in the comment section. You will see more information in the description. So goodbye from Colombia. I wish you all the best. Have a great day and hope to see you soon here in Colombia, or at least back on my channel soon. Yours, Colombiafrank.